this. Take your seat. यार वहाँ पे लैग है क्या? लैग
Yes, YouTube में तो time lag के बाद ही आता है. He is showing YouTube.
So we show generally we show our Takkar strength, right? When we take Takkar Strategy Session, right? And Takkar we started with its own, let's say that acronym, and it has basically three meanings that you have to give Takkar to UPSC. UPSC gives us Takkar, and it is also a Takkar for us to deliver. This. So it is basically, let's say that a kind of Takkar, you can consider that, to match with UPSC standard and keep you guiding for almost, let's say 1 year, especially let's say that till prelims, and then no doubt let's say after that. It has been 3 years that we have been running this program. Nowadays, let's see, this program is also giving results that we have prelims qualified candidates from Takkar. So then we have also results this year from final selection. So even if just it happens 3 years students. Basically, it suits to those students who have, let's see, not they study their GS and somehow let's see their preparation has certain gaps, they do not have adequate writing practices. And then more importantly that they want to motivate themselves. How you can motivate yourself, how you can retain for 1 year, how you can have adequate practice, how can you fill up your gaps, knowledge that you have. So it's about holistic preparation for 1 year in GS, SA, and that also includes the mains examination. And in that, there is 2 cycles, you know that can 2 cycles for prelims related preparation. 1 cycle there is by December, the second cycle is starts in January. You can consider that is 2 cycles you have to prepare for prelims. Generally, students give their focus for prelims since January. We don't think that nowadays, the way UPSC is asking prelims, you can just cover prelims from January on. Because prelims have evidence that it became more difficult than mains examination. In mains, you can predict the questions. In mains, you can get certain marks secure. But in prelims, let's say if you don't qualify, you don't qualify. It does not matter whether you secured 73 marks or 84 marks. If you do not qualify, you do not qualify. And nowadays, there are candidates you can find that even for 5 attempts, they have not qualified. This, why they are not qualified? So that is what, let's say, Takkar is so, let's say, beautifully I will tell that it is designed in terms of test, in terms of, let's say, that mentoring that is done after test, let's say that, then essay program that is covered, then prelims and mains examination. In sectional test, basically, we try to cover the basic fundamentals. Then in full length test, we try to cover you UPSC standard, although we keep it at moderate level. It is a kind of brick by brick preparation. And that is how let's say that now students now know about they it's like somehow they think that yes, it can match with their schedule. Because it also gives 1 year schedule, let's say that a plan you can consider. Even a candidate who does not join, he can learn from the schedule that what exactly should they do for 1 year. And that is how let's say since resources are provided, and plus let's say the other let's say handouts can be given in the course of this program. So that gives you lots of benefits to improve your knowledge, have adequate writing practice, and continuously get guided by subject specific faculties. And that is how it can help you, let's say, that qualified prelims. People from Takkar have qualified prelims, they are going to appear now in mains. Mains also will get. But that is how a trust building can be considered. Because the results, only results start building trust between institution and the students. So give Takkar to UPSC, this is how we say, and it is our Takkar team which is prepared also to give Takkar to UPSC.
Right.
So they will take one by one, they will talk about even we have dedicated mentors, let's say that. We go on preparing groups, and in that groups there is a mentor that can continuously guide you. If I especially I know I have been doing this work. So it's throughout, let's say, day-to-day basis of the communication with the students, which is nowadays it has become a type of culture that the students want to have day-to-day basis communication with the faculties, so that their doubts, their motivation level, all these things can be, let's say, calibrated and clear. So they will talk about this how the program is. See, especially people those who are online learning, online era, you can say that they can also watch and let's say that they take, let's say that means they can understand that what exactly let's say we are proceed. What I will give as a message, generally, let's say introduction with me is very rare. So my message always is that you see consistency is very important. This those who maintain consistency, even by average work, means average hard work, if you maintain consistency, you are through this. Consistency is very important because it's 1.5 years is a huge time. Until next June, it is a huge time. Many a time I tell to my foundation students that foundation class is more like honeymoon time. You enjoy it. The real challenge starts once the batch ends. Yes. So that is how I think is the candidate is. As long as you are studying foundation, so you are engaged, you are motivated. But the day foundation classes end, then your challenge starts because you have to motivate yourself on day-to-day basis. And you have to keep engaged yourself on day-to-day basis, which is very challenging. If you maintain consistency, even with average hard work, so you are through this. That is our message. So, all the best for your next session. So, they will take it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So my name is Lakshmikant, and I'm the faculty for Geography, Environment, Internal Security, and Disaster Management at Lukmaan IAS. Yes, am I audible? Online students, some students who are having this low voice. Yes, I can see some familiar faces also. Good to see you all. Yes, come. Okay, so first of all, I will give you the overall idea about the Takkar program, and thereafter I will talk about my own specific subjects, and other faculties will also briefly tell you the approach towards different subjects. So first of all, Yes. Why we need a year-long test series program? So let's talk about why first. Generally, I tell students that there is a concentric circle of 3 WH type of question, and it is why, what, and how. Okay, first we should ask why, and thereafter what, and then how, right? So first of all, we'll talk about why we need a year-long test series program. So how you are going to let's say, attempt 2026 examination. Now, let's say the exam is on 24th of May 2026, and thereafter the main in August. Right? So you have almost more than 15 months to study. I can categorize the students in different sections. First, those who are going to give the they have completed the foundation, or they are doing some self-study kind of thing and giving the attempt for the first time. Second category of students are those who are, let's say, not able to clear the prelims for last 2-3 years, right? So they haven't appeared for mains examination, but their preparation is at a little bit higher level. And the third category of student is they have at least appeared once or twice in the mains examination, and they want to improve upon the answer writing, and they are at a higher pedestal, I would say, in terms of preparation. So I will tell you the strategy for all these, let's say, 3 categories of students. But first of all, why we need YLTS? Synchronize the time, efforts, and output. Okay. You need a foolproof plan for next 15 months. And that plan is provided through Takkar year-long program, year-long test series program. Why we need that? Because when we make such plan by ourselves, somehow that plan will have some lacuna in terms of let's say whether we are giving appropriate weightage to that particular section of our syllabus, whether we are self-committed and dedicated to implement that plan. Those things create a trouble or hurdles in your preparation. So when the institute provides you such plan, it is easier for you to stick to the plan and implement it. So first thing is synchronizing the time. So we have the plan, the complete schedule for next 15 months is given to you. So how much time we are supposed to invest in particular section, appropriate weightage we have given, like for polity we have 2 tests, for environment section 1 test, for economy section 2 tests. So the way UPSC gives weightage in the examination, we have also designed that. The efforts and the output, we need to synchronize. If any of these 3 are out of balance, then there is problem. Second thing we can talk about is we need to start from basic and move towards advanced. And year-long test series is basically for that purpose only. Initially, you should be able to answer the questions, basic questions, or let's say solve MCQs which are based on NCERT. And then we should move towards some applied questions, especially for your mains examination. Third is the way Ansari sir was telling that prelims has become the major hurdle. And I would say for more than 90% of students, this is the major hurdle. And it has become dicey, dynamic, and unpredictable in terms of, let's say, preparation. But still, we have to understand that prelims preparation is not a kind of preparation limited to January to May nowadays. This is not the case. And that's why year-long test series program should incorporate prelims practice throughout the year. And we are providing that in a very, let's say, unique kind of design. The way I was telling, basic to advanced. So phase 1, the basic questions based on NCERT, and advanced phase 2 from January, more, let's say, complex framing and applied questions. So that will help to overcome this hurdle that most of you are facing. Then some of the students, उनका पेन ही नहीं चलता है, ठीक है? So answer writing problem, or let's say if they are writing generic answers. They are not able to bring in the key terminologies related to that subject, that topic. So answer writing is a kind of skill. It is a kind of skill, and we need to, we can say that, develop that skill, sharpen that skill, and this can be done through the rigorous writing. Okay, rigorous writing is required, and through year-long test series, you are going to do that on weekly basis. Every week you are going to write answers to 10 questions, right? So this is going to improve, and yes, of course, the feedback, the evaluation, the discussion, model answers, plus mentoring. At Lukmaan IAS, the mentoring is directly done by the faculties of respective subjects. Now, this is very helpful for most of the students. You know what happens outside or in the other institutes. I don't want to compare that, but yes, you are all aware about this. The mentoring is very important role. It is playing an important role nowadays, especially after your foundation is done. Now you are not in touch with faculties, no. So who are going to guide you? The mentors are going to guide you. Okay, and it is also your responsibility to keep nudging the mentors. Help me, help me. This is also very important nowadays. Okay, and these students surely get successful. Understood? So mentoring. So this is basically the Takkar year-long program we are providing you. Let me tell you the schedule, how it proceeds. Takkar year-long program has 4 phases. Phase 1, it starts. So yes, from Monday itself it is starting, and it will end December 2025. Phase 1. This phase 1 is a kind of integrated phase for your prelims as well as mains. Simultaneous test will be there. Phase 2 exclusively for prelims 2026. The way I told you, advanced questions will be there. After your prelims, phase 3 exclusively for mains 2026. Advanced and applied questions, complex framing of mains questions. So here there will be total 17 tests. And finally, phase 4 is interview guidance program. In this manner, all phases of or all stages of your examination, prelims, mains and interview, is covered in this year-long test series program. If we go in detail, let me tell you the number of tests also. And it covers your prelims, CSAT. First thing, many times students' concern is this one also, whether it is including CSAT. So yes, surely we have CSAT also. So this is basically phase 1, 14th of June 2025 to 10th of January 2026. Okay, so weekly test will be conducted. Total number of tests 26 for prelims. CSAT, total number of tests 9 tests. Current affairs separate test based on 2 months current affairs. Total number of tests 6 tests. Thereafter mains 34 tests. So you can see in phase 1 a little bit more weightage is given for mains because you have a dedicated phase 2 for your prelims. So this is the let's say design of we can say that year-long test series program. Then essay, there will be 4 essay tests also. Now the design of program is like that. It will cover GS 1, 2, 3, 4 in a sequential manner. Okay, it's not like you will have first polity and suddenly there will be internal security after that. We should not prepare the syllabus like that also. In paper 1 we have history, art and culture, then modern let's say world history, society and geography sequence, and thereafter the complete GS1 mock test. This is how the design should be there, and after that you should be keeping the GS1 aside, right? So this should be the approach, and we are also following that kind of approach. And in phase 2 there will be 40 class test pardon me. Then there will be, we can say that the self-assessment test will be provided, and weekly basis there will be 100 question full-length mock test. So subject wise as well as mock test. And in the end there will be a kind of all India prelims mock test in the phase 2, AIPMTs. In phase 3 dedicated mains test, 12 GS tests plus 5 essay tests are there. So your essay preparation is holistically done. Before prelims also you are practicing, after prelims also you have practice for your essay. And finally, after that, we have interview guidance. So you will be provided the guidance and study material for your interview. And along with that, mock interview will be also held for you. Okay. So this is the schedule, or we can say that program that we have. Now, first we will talk about geography section. I will give some idea about geography and the other subjects. So this is the syllabus for geography, mains and prelims. Right, you all are aware about the syllabus, and we are not going to go in detail about that. Especially for mains, we have a subject-wise strategy session uploaded on our YouTube channel recently, so you can see the detailed analysis there. Here we'll briefly provide you how to deal with that subject approach. Okay, so you can see the main syllabus for geography is a much detailed syllabus, and that helps you to prepare your short notes also for geography, as it is largely static section, right? So, and it is scoring also. 100 marks are, let's say, for your mains examination GS1 paper out of 250, right? In prelims, Indian and world geography, physical, social, economic geography of India and world. So in prelims also, on an average, you can see here I have given the marks analysis, trend analysis. Almost 100 marks in mains out of 250, and on an average 15 questions in prelims out of 100. Okay, so it is having significant weightage. Now if you talk about the nature of question in prelims, the way I told you, mains ke liye aap kya kariye, you refer to those discussion videos which are in very detail, right? For prelims, you can see that last year questions, the importance of NCERT for geography. Now, every time students come to us that, sir, I have read NCERT, what else I should do? For prelims, you should have very good, let's say, command over your NCERTs. 4 to 5 questions are directly from your NCERT, or let's say whatever the content is there, basic understanding of concepts. You can see that as it is, these statements are copied. This is 11th standard geography NCERT, chapter number 7. And you can see that the amount of dust particles, subtropical, यहाँ पे less लिख दिया है, ज़्यादा होता है, right? It is higher in the subtropical region. So basically, if you have clarity about this, and every year UPSC asks questions like this, if you do the PYQ analysis. The second section you can see is importance of atlas reading for geography section. So atlas reading should be a kind of continuous practice. Although you may have done in the foundation batch, but it should be continuous practice, atlas reading. Okay, तो शाम को बोर हो गए तो चाय पी ली तो आधा घंटा आप क्या करेंगे, मैप रीडिंग करेंगे atlas लेके. That should be a habit, right? So all these locations should be like in your mind, kind of network. Okay, नाम सामने आ गया कि image clear होनी चाहिए कि ये यहाँ पर है. Then only we will have command over that mapping section. So in general, how we should let's say approach for your prelims as well as mains, focus more on static part, concept plus for both prelims and mains. Okay, they will ask the concept, right? And even in mains, if you see, the knowledge based questions are there, right? Syllabus related. Then in geography answer, what is important? Drawing diagrams and maps. Okay, it is a kind of value addition to your answer, geography answers. Generally, I tell students, we do not award more than 4 marks out of 10 if you do not draw a diagram or a map. ठीक है, तो इसकी प्रैक्टिस आपने करनी चाहिए. Then brainstorming for applied questions. So brainstorming means, although it is not directly from your syllabus topic, applied questions will test your knowledge and interlinkages, how you are able to link to your syllabus topics, PYQs, and the current developments. This is how the brainstorming is done in applied questions. This should be a kind of practice. Then follow current affairs for geophysical phenomenon and climate change. Geophysical phenomenon generally, let's say, natural hazards. Last year mains question, cloud burst, right? Explain the mechanism. So cloud burst, now the monsoon is going on. Somehow you will come across the news that in Himachal Pradesh or Uttarakhand there is cloud burst. So why don't you immediately prepare a kind of small write-up about the mechanism and recent incidences in last 1 year or last 10 years about that particular event or phenomenon. Then climate change, it is a kind of contemporary phenomenon, no? So let's say causes and impact of climate change, what are the measures being taken? यही तो पूछते हैं वो हमेशा. Current development. Atlas reading, we just now talked about it. MCQ solving practice, so through Takkar we are going to do that. Right, आपको अलग से करने की जरूरत नहीं. Just aid that with your PYQs. Fine. And this is going to be done through, we can say, although in Takkar also we have PYQ test. You can see that. In Takkar also, for each subject, GS1, there is a complete PYQ test, right? But by yourself also, you should be writing answers to PYQs along with Takkar test questions, right? Then, internal security part and disaster management. This is the syllabus, internal security and disaster management. Again, internal security, 50 marks out of 250. Every year UPSC asks 50 marks, 2 questions 10 marker, 2 questions 15 markers. Disaster management, very small syllabus. Weightage is also less. Weightage is let's say ranging from 20 to 30 or 35 marks. You can see here the trend analysis. 50 marks. This is internal security part. The one in orange, you can see variations in disaster management. Okay. Now, how to approach internal security and disaster management. So yes, just now I was, let's say, talking to foundation batch students about internal security, and when we were doing the PYQ analysis, I told them, see the framing of questions. The framing is like that. In first part, there is causes or talking about the evolution of that particular internal security challenge. Second part, they are talking about the measures. That's all. Okay, or any current development. So what you should have is deep understanding of these issues and its impact. Thereafter, what government strategy approach is there to deal with that? Current updates related to security challenge. Like recently, there was incident in Kashmir. You are all aware about that. Thereafter, the government launched Operation Sindoor. You should have follow up on those current developments because it is an internal security issue. Emerging challenges like use of drones, very much in news. So we expect always question on that. Then we should have a small, let's say, notes on all these challenges so that it is easy to revise multiple times and write the answer. So answer writing will be done, of course, through, right? So this is how we should, let's say, approach. And then for disaster management, if you talk about, you should have overlapping preparation with GS1 natural hazards and GS3 disaster management, because cloudburst was asked in 2023 mains in GS3 and in 2024 in GS1, same question. So if you have 1 page note on cloudburst, it is useful for both. Okay, so then major natural and man-made disaster, 1 page note should be there, common notes should be there, and thereafter, let's say, recent examples, because they are explicitly asking there, recent examples of natural disaster, and effective solutions and measures. This should be the approach for these sections. Okay. Now, I will request Shivang sir to continue here for economy section. Any question, any doubt? Okay, fine.
So I have a sore throat, so I'll be just rude and simple. As for economy, it's very difficult to clear prelims or mains without economy, because apart from all the subjects if you talk about, economy is the only subject where you can apply your brain, where you can apply your logic. If you're not good at economy in PT, it is very difficult to clear prelims examination. 17 to 18 question, if you add the current affairs part, it's around about 20-21 questions from economy. And that is the only question right after bubbling, you are sure whether you have attempted the correct question or not, because things are clear. It's analytical. But the preparation as far as prelims and mains are quite different. In prelims, you're required to just be recognizing whether you are able to eliminate based on your concept. Recognition is very easy. You have you have tried many MCQs, you are able to eliminate, you have developed that skill. Okay, this is not conforming to the ideas that I have developed over those MCQs that I have practiced. But in mains, it's all about recalling things. And in economy, the questions, if you talk about mains, it will look as if you know all the questions. Itna easy question hai. We have been reading these things, but when it comes to easy question, you need to write curated answer, well curated answer, where the margin of error is very less, and you're required to actually add on to the value enrichment part. As I told you in geography, what is the value enrichment in mains answer writing in geography? That is maps. But what is there in economy? Data. Data. It should be in line with what is the demand of the question. And you cannot just mug up data. You will have to say, I'll just buy the data bank. I'll mug up all the things. But when to contextualize the particular data within the folds of the answer, that is very important. You cannot say, sir, I have read demographic data. So whatsoever demographic come, I will just put in these. India has become 1.46 billion. India, these all are just class 7th, class 8th, crude answer, not contextual. Okay, so as far as economy is concerned, so in syllabi, if you talk about, they have got two different syllabi obviously. In the mains PT syllabus, it's quite generalistic. But in PT, it's all about macroeconomy. So economy will just see what is macro, you must be knowing, I guess you must have completed your foundations, and in macroeconomy, you're talking about the concepts. Concepts. And you're just testing whether the concepts are whether within the limits or not. But in mains, this macroeconomy, the UPSC keeps on asking only one or two questions. So we'll see why it is very important to develop that answer writing in mains in economy, because it has huge relevance in mains also. 100 out of 250 marks consistently out of GS3. GS3 is by far the most diverse subjects. It is very difficult to know about all the knowledge in GS3, because it is economy, internal security, then environment and science tech. And within science tech and environment, you're required to know good understanding of the concepts, technology, or whatsoever is the ecological factors behind it. But in economy, you're required to know what is there in the newspaper. So in newspaper, you must be reading all these things consistently. But it is all about how you write those things in your answer. It's not just, okay, sir, I knew these things, but I could not put those things in my paper. Okay. Now, so see, this is the pattern that they have been asking 17 questions consistently in PT. And this year's PT, they just innovated with data. You must have seen the PT questions in economy. For the first time, they tried to just bluff whether you know the concepts in reality through data. It was more calculative questions that came up for the first time in economy. So if you did not know the concepts, you could not have made a correct answer to that particular question. Okay. Now, see, in economy, it is very important to actually know about those sectional tests. It is very important. In economy, if you have actually attempted those sectional tests, those 100 questions from specific portion of the subject syllabi, it would be more beneficial, because you must have touched upon, in the process, you would be touching upon most of the topics. And that is why, because when you just scan these questions just beneath your eyes, it becomes very easy. And as far as the relevance of questions, out of 16 questions, 5 to 6 questions would be from money and banking. Straight away. Money and banking. Conceptual part. Of late, they have been asking about certain rules, directives, regulations by the regulators, the SEBI, Reserve Bank of India. They can even go and ask about the Pension Fund Regulatory Authority or the Insurance Regulatory Authority, IRDAI. So you are required to know whatsoever is making rounds. For example, currently, yesterday only, there was unfortunate incidents of accident. So what is the ramification? Increase in insurance cost. So the role of IRDAI you'll come to know that the role of IRDAI would become even more important because the insurance claims would be very high. Insurance claims would be very high. So if the question comes up in IRDAI, you will be asking, why did they ask IRDAI? Because that is away from money and banking, because these things turned up in newspaper. And it is through those sectional tests only you will be getting to know about the mandates. What are their mandates? What are their limitations? How they are collaborating with Reserve Bank and many other regulators. Then BOP is very important. And with Trump and all these administration, BOP, you're required to know about the basic concepts and the developmental trends which are happening as far as mains answer writing is concerned. Okay. And then obviously they have schemes. For the past 2-3 years, they've been asking 2 or 3 schemes consistently. Features of the scheme, one-liners, or they can even ask how to eliminate those. If you are not knowing those things, it becomes very difficult. And in economy, out of 16 questions, you're required to at least attempt 12 correct questions. 80% of success rate in economy would make sure that you are well through prelims. If you have screwed up your economy, it is very difficult because economy, polity, geography, these are the stock subjects. History you cannot bank actually. Either you know it, you have read till masters, you have that grasp, because they don't ask those spectrum based questions now that I've read those things and you will just try to eliminate those things. You need to have that command on history, geography, polity and economy. 50 questions out of 100 comes from these 3 subjects. Okay. Now if I say this is all about prelims, what about mains? So these were the questions, some of these questions. So this was the question which was asked this year. So this was a basic calculation based question. If you did not know the basic concept underlying this question, it is very difficult to actually solve that question. It would appear that if you try to do these calculations on your own, you try to eliminate that thing, that would not happen. You'll miss the trick there. Okay, it looks easy on the surface, but it is very difficult if you are not knowing the concept. Okay, then like this, they have been going into capital market with the coming up of all the investments and all these things. They have been going deep in the capital market questions, mutual funds, stock market and all these things. So you're required to develop those skills about knowing these things, attempting it at the right time. These things would not appear in the mains examination. And this is the most difficult part, how to segregate prelims and mains as far as economy is concerned. So what happens in economy, people try to just mug up the last 1.5 years of preparation, and that becomes very difficult when they keep on writing answers. Answer writing needs stock material. All the topics you need to have content on that. Contextualize those things in your answer writing. As I told you in mains, it is more so defined. The syllabi, obviously in mains there are 2 topics in economics. One is macroeconomy, the economic development, other is agroeconomy. Agroeconomy, it has similarities, it has relevance, it has overlapping with agricultural geography, GS1, geography part. But agroeconomy, every answer should look from the demand and supply perspective, pricing, deficit, what is the government doing, how they are making sure that the demand and supply is, the gap is met down. But in geographical part, you're writing about the climatic conditions, the availability, which are the producers and all these things. So your answer should be dependent on whatsoever subject you are attempting. If you're attempting GS1, you write in that domain. If you're attempting this particular subject, you need to think from the economic perspective. Okay. And in agroeconomy, they keep on asking 50 marks. Even they go overboard and ask 60 marks out of 100 from agroeconomy. And agroeconomy is something that you need to have, you can have good ground on the agricultural aspects. And mains, your stock answer writing should come from agriculture. You need to have sound base on the agricultural development. How has it happened over, say, post-independence, and how is it continuing? This is the main part. Okay. Now, so it requires mix of concepts and dynamism. So what happens, suppose PDF, public distribution system. You need to know what is PDS. You need to know the introductory part should define the core demand of the question. And then you need to add on the ingredients like the challenges, significance, drivers, pros, cons, and what could be the solution. Solution should not be out of the box. It should be realistic. Don't say the government of India should try and overall PDF, they should stop PDS. Or they should incorporate many more people into PDS. There are challenges because you're dealing with the real situation of what is economy. It's all about scarcity and allocation. Your answer should also be balanced in approach. And that requires deep understanding. And what is the role of prelims in mains is your value enrichment that you read in the prelims part. That you should put those things in your mains answer writing, else that is of no use. You attempted many of the current development, we could not be able to use those things in your mains answer writing, then you actually wasted your 3 or 4 months of preparation when it came to answer writing. Okay. So these are the 3 important topics. So agroeconomy, they keep on asking 50%, even going overboard on that. Now this has been the question, some of the questions which they have been asking, like last year's mains, they just asked one of the most neglected topic about when we talk about economy, we always think about demand and supply and all these things, we neglect that health education part. They straight away ask what is the health and education whatsoever is the development in terms of the public expenditure. And when these types of question comes, you need to argue with data. Argue with data. Plain crude answer, the government of India is doing good in health. The government of India is doing bad in health. The government of India has made sure that the public expenditure as a percentage of GDP, whatsoever is the percent, is this, it has progressed over, say increased over say 50%, 70% over the 70%, and that should be authentic. It should not be cooked up data. You should not try to cook up data because people know that you have cooked up your data. They know this, okay? Then obviously, what is the main thing? Main thing is don't try to prepare in silos. Identify the common patterns. Macroeconomy in mains. Try to converge the topics as far as mains and prelims is concerned, and make sure that you have gist of these 3 things, and not just stacked in your shelf in your mind. Terminology, use those terminologies in your answer. Deficit, if this is public expenditure, don't say investment. Money is nothing, it's capital. You try to reuse those things, okay? And then try to practice, revise, and keep on improving. This is the only idea. In economy, it's very easy if you know it and if you prepare. So this is all about the economy, and in Takkar, we'll have this hand holding. In the prelims part, as I told you, sectionals are very important as well as PT is concerned. In the mains part, we will try to develop that what, when, what, how, WH questions to build the stock knowledge and then contextualize with advanced preparation. Okay, so this is all about the economy section in Takkar. Thank you.
Okay, so basically now we are going to discuss about the science and technology section. All right, so you know the importance of science and technology in the UPSC exam. So basically science and technology is considered to be a subject which is not only important for UPSC, but it is important for us as human beings, let's say on our day-to-day life, right? And UPSC is generally testing our knowledge of science and technology, like general knowledge of science and technology through the papers. So when we talk about, let's say, like, what is the trend of the paper, what kind of questions UPSC asks in the prelims exam, and also when we talk about, let's say, what kind of questions UPSC asks in the mains exam, to understand that we need to understand the syllabus of the exam, we need to understand about the trend of the exam, okay? So now here I'm going to discuss about science and technology and what we are going to do to help you prepare science and technology, okay? Science and technology is a very important subject for the prelims, and also for the mains. Why for the prelims? Because the prelims exam that we give in the UPSC CSE, this exam is common for civil services also and for forest services also. And you know, those people who are preparing for forest services, they are also, let's say, like, they are generally taking 2 optional subjects that are science based. So the thing is, there is heavy reliance on science and technology in the prelims exam. So you, if you want to qualify the cutoff of forest services, in that case, you have to be good in science and technology related thing. Okay. So here, if I talk about the trend of the paper, so like this is the trend of the paper from the prelims point of view. So on an average, right, in the prelims exam, they ask about 10 to 15 questions on an average. Every year you get about 10 to 15 questions in the prelims. So what is the syllabus of the prelims exam? In prelims, they have just mentioned about general science. This is the keyword. And if I show the questions that they are asking in the prelims exam, the questions are from all sections of science and technology. So if you have to study science and technology, you have to do 3 things. Number 1, you have to be good at the basics of science and technology. Number 2, you have to be updated with the current events. What development is happening in the field of science and technology. Number 3, you have to interlink various things of science and technology and see the application part of it. So these are the 3 things that you need to do. Okay. So when we talk about the main syllabus, this is the main syllabus, let's say, like, for science and technology. And when we talk about weightage of, let's say, science and technology in the mains exam, so around every year, 35 to 50 marks questions are direct. Many questions are there in GS paper 3 of the mains exam where there are, let's say, questions that are asked from the internal security domain. There are questions that are asked from the disaster management domain, but still they have relevance with the science and technology. I'll show those questions also with you. So this is the portion of science and technology from year to year, how, let's say, UPSC has asked questions. Okay. So having understood this, now when we talk about what are the broad areas that you need to cover from science and technology point of view. Okay. So like in the prelims exam, biotechnology is a very important field. Then space technology is another important field because like India is making huge progress in the space science and technology. Like Indian Space Research Organization, it is consistently the number 3 or number 4th in the world. You know, in the United Nations Organization, there are 194 member countries, right? Out of them, only few countries are spacefaring nation. And India is consistently among the top countries. Like we have sent a mission to the Mars, which was an interplanetary mission in 2014, right? 2013 we have sent, 2014 it has reached. And then we have sent Chandrayaan mission 3, Chandrayaan 3. Like we have soft landed on the south pole of the moon, right? Now we are planning for Gaganyaan mission, like which is also known as human space flight mission. We want to send human beings into the space, right? And we have ambitious project. We want to have, let's say, like, Indian, like similar to the International Space Station, we also want to have an Indian space station, which is known as Bharatiya Space Station, like that. Okay. So that's the thing. So information technology is another very important field. Here, a lot of development is happening because of artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing, a lot of things are coming. Defense technology is naturally important because many countries are in a state of war with one another at this point of time. We have seen in the Middle East, I mean, like, so we have kind of Israel is there, Hamas is there. Now that Israel has created tussle with Iran also. We know that particular thing. We know Ukraine, Russia thing. Recently, India, Pakistan, I mean, like, they also confronted with one another. Okay. It is good that, like, it has subsided. Right, further escalation has not happened. So defense technology is very important. So from Pakistani side, many drones have been fired into India, and we have S-400 missile defense system. So that S-400 missile defense system helped us to kind of protect our border. So that's the thing. So UPSC has already asked question from that, but this time when they ask a question, so they're going to ask much deeper question. When we talk about nuclear science and technology, it's a field where, let's say, in 2025 budgetary allocation, the finance minister of India has allocated budget, right, for small modular reactors. And also recently you might have heard about that, like, prototype fast breeder reactor has been kind of operationalized in India in Kalpakkam, Tamil Nadu. Okay. So that marks the second phase of India's 3-stage nuclear power program, which was given by Dr. Homi Jahangir Bhabha. So when we talk about emerging technologies, there are many areas where new development is happening, including artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing, robotics, Internet of Things, right? A lot of things are happening. Nanotechnology, I mean, like, earlier they have asked a question, very small unit, but from intellectual property rights, they have asked question recently, right? So that's about science and technology. So when we talk about nature of questions, questions are interdisciplinary approached, right? And they ask questions in the prelims which are application based, right? So that's the thing. And there is current focus also, because UPSC wants you to be updated with what is happening around the world, okay? And these are some of the sources that we are going to refer while we teach in the classroom, right? You don't have to follow all these resources. We are there to do that part, okay? Now, these are some of the questions that UPSC has asked in the past. Okay, so I'm not going to discuss about these questions, just to share the nature of the questions. So this is a question in the prelims exam. They have asked about microsatellite DNA. Many of you, before giving the prelims exam, may not have heard about what do we mean by microsatellite DNA. So the thing is, like, solving those questions will be very difficult, right? Similarly, membrane bioreactors, I mean, like, such questions, many a times the terminology you see for the first time in the class, in the exam hall. So the thing is, that's why you need to attend, let's say, classes. That's why you need to be in touch with faculties who are teaching that subject. Okay, so these are some of, like, in the last year, like, it is UPSC Prelims 2024. They have asked a question, like, they have given names of many aircraft fighters, Rafale, MiG, like MiG-29, Tejas MK, right? In 2025 prelims also, they have given a question like that. Similar question in defense technology. So defense technology is an important area. Okay, so there are many areas from where a lot of questions are asked. So all these topics I generally cover, let's say, deeply in the classroom, people who are attending GS Foundation classes. But for the people who are students of Takkar Test Series, so, like, we have regular mentorship with these students, and also we basically, like, conduct tests in the classroom, and before test we have a strategy session. We help the students to kind of understand what to do in science and technology, how to cover the syllabus, right? We will be having a, let's say, detailed strategy session for science and technology, and in the Takkar Test Series we will be having 2 full-length science and technology tests, right, in the prelims exam and also in the mains exam. I will show the syllabus of that also. Okay, so this is the question, basically, like, these are the questions in the UPSC mains 2024. Okay, so now this question is from intellectual property rights. So it says, what is the present world scenario of intellectual property rights with respect to life materials? Although India is second in the world to file patents, right? So it's from intellectual property rights. Then we have a question which is, like, technology which is being employed in highways for electronic toll collection. And also, what are asteroids? You might have seen, like, asteroid was about to impact the earth, and, like, so there was an asteroid deflection mission. So that's why, let's say, like, questions that are asked in the mains exam also, so they are highly related to what is there in the current affairs. But, like, you need to have knowledge of science and technology also to solve those questions. You see, one of the question, it talks about describe the context and salient features of Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. So it has been in news, but when we talk about Digital Personal Data Protection Act, so, like, it has connotation with polity also. It is connected with, let's say, like, science and technology as well. This is another question. So in this question, they are asking about alternative technologies which solve the crisis of shortage of clean water. That's the thing. Okay, and again, social media and encrypting messaging services pose a serious security challenge. So this question is from internal security, but the thing is, now they are talking about encryption of messaging and all. So that's why it is very important. And so these are the questions from 2023. I'll quickly take you through, let's say, like, another document just to show you. Yes. What we are going to do related to science and technology. So basically, like, in the prelims exam, for the prelims exam, we are going to have a test PT 34 for science and technology, where we are going to cover the entire syllabus, right? And there will be a mains test also, M30, which will be of science and technology. And apart from this, let's say like we will be having PT 37 test for science and technology, and also there will be M31, means like mains test 31, where we are going to cover science and technology. So basically science and technology is an important section, right, from where UPSC is asking question, huge number of question, I mean like more than 10 questions every year in the prelims exam, and they're asking many questions in the mains exam also. And prelims exam, I mean like science and technology is basically very important because common prelims is being conducted for forest services also, for civil services also. So you see more weightage of science and technology in the basically prelims exam also. And if I talk about this year's paper, so these are some of the questions, although I have discussed all these questions in the basically classroom. So these videos are available, let's say like, you know, these like all the explanation is available on our YouTube channel. So you can see this is basically science and technology question paper from 2025 prelims. Okay, so this is one of the question from science and technology. I have given the answer also to this. This question is based on rare earth elements. Okay, and this particular question is based on a scheme of the government, National Rail Plan, right? This particular question is from the kind of, you know, space missions. So Axiom 4, Spardax, Gaganyaan mission, like that. And this particular question is from defense technology, the way that they have asked in 2024 also, right? And again, this particular question is like, you know, artificial way of causing rainfall, right? So it is like, you know, silver iodide and potassium iodide is used. Then this is another. So the thing is like these questions basically show us that the questions from science and technology are interdisciplinary in nature. You need to understand science and technology. You need to be updated with the current affairs also. And at the same time, you need to solve questions, because the more questions you solve, the more clarity you get how to attempt the paper, right? That is important. Okay. So further discussion will be taken by Vaibhav sir. So he is going to discuss about the polity section. If you have any question, you can ask me, but like in the classroom, we are going to basically discuss in detail about science and technology. Lot of advanced developments are happening in this particular field. Many topics are there that I can discuss with you when we talk about recent aeroplane accident that has happened in basically like in Ahmedabad. So that has happened because of some failures, because a lot of videos are coming, but it is a matter of investigation. Further investigations are happening. So people are going to analyze the black box. Black box means like, you know, which collects the data, like all the data of the activities that happen inside the plane. And also they are going to collect the voice samples from the cockpit. Cockpit means the place where the pilots and all they interact, right? So that like, you know, after collecting all this data, they'll be able to analyze what was the main reason for such accidents to happen. But the thing is like, you know, you can see some science and technology connection with that. Are we understanding? That's the thing. So questions may be asked from any area in the prelims and as well as in the mains. So any questions for me, right? In future, like, you know, we can meet and we can discuss if you have any questions. From online also, if they ask some questions, so we'll be kind of responding on the chat section, right, on YouTube. So thank you so much, everyone. Now Vaibhav sir will come. He will discuss about the polity section, right? Thank you so much.
Hello, good evening. My name is Vaibhav and perhaps few of you are known to me. कुछ लोगों को मैं पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की वजह से जानता हूँ, कुछ लोगों को मैं हाल फिलहाल में अभी मुलाकात हुई थी, जैसे आपको पंचसूत्रा की वजह से शायद मैं जानता हूँ. You were there in the पंचसूत्रा टेस्ट सीरीज, राइट? ठीक है. मैं हिंदी में इंग्लिश में मिला के बात करूंगा. बहुत देर हो गई होगी आपको इंग्लिश में सुनते सुनते कि ये क्या डेमो चल रहा है. ठीक है. We'll have a normal conversation. ठीक है. तो सबसे पहले तो हेलो, हाउ आर यू, कैसे हो आप सब लोग? ठीक है. केमन आछे जो बंगाल से हैं. ठीक है. महाराष्ट्र से जो है वो कैसे बोलेंगे हेलो हाउ आर यू? आप पंजाब से हैं, हाँ भाई किवे, बढ़िया, ठीक है. और हेगिदरे नीवू फॉर कर्नाटका पीपल, एवरीबडी. ठीक है. पॉलिटी की बात करेंगे, बहुत देर से अलग अलग सब्जेक्ट्स की बात कर रहे थे, खासकर पॉलिटी की बात करेंगे। एक ऐसा सब्जेक्ट जो हम सब लोग सबसे ज़्यादा पढ़ते हैं, किताबों से भी और अखबारों से भी। एक ऐसा सब्जेक्ट जिसमें हम लोग सबसे ज़्यादा गलतियां करते हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि सिर्फ पढ़ते हैं, समझते नहीं है गहराई से। सही बात। गहराई से कैसे समझना है? जिस दिन अखबार में जो मुद्दा आया है उसके बेसिक्स उसी दिन किताब में से पढ़ लो, बात खत्म। टेस्ट, प्रीलिम्स के कई सारे टेस्ट होंगे, मेंस के कई सारे टेस्ट होंगे। उनका महत्व क्या है आपके जीवन में? टेस्ट लगाना काफी नहीं है, टेस्ट में जो गलतियां हुई हैं उनमें सुधार करना आपको एक कदम आगे लेके जाएगा। सुधार कैसे होगा? मॉडल आंसर पढ़ के, टेस्ट का डिस्कशन अटेंड करके, चाहे ऑनलाइन चाहे ऑफलाइन मेरी क्लास में आओ, कोई भी डिस्कशन लेगा, कोई भी फैकल्टी अपने अपने सब्जेक्ट का डिस्कशन लेगा, क्लास में आओ। क्लास के बाद भी अगर डाउट आता है तो साल भर, अब से लेके एनरोलमेंट डेट से लेके जिस दिन तक एग्जाम क्लियर नहीं हो जाता, आके डाउट पूछो। आप सब लोग को पता है मैं कहाँ बैठता हूँ। यू नो मी, वेयर टू फाइंड मी, हाउ टू अप्रोच मी। आई एम easily available and each and every faculty is just a text away from you, right? पॉलिटी की बात करते हैं। पॉलिटी में दो मोटी मोटी बातें करेंगे। सबसे पहले कि सर बहुत अतरंगी सतरंगी क्वेश्चन आते हैं, उन्हें कैसे हैंडल करना है, नहीं करना है। जो नॉर्मल क्वेश्चन आते हैं उन्हें तो सही सॉल्व करना सीखो पहले। जो नॉर्मल रिपीटेड टॉपिक्स हैं, फंडामेंटल राइट्स, डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स, फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज, प्रीएम्बल, पार्लियामेंट में भी खास करके आता है स्पीकर ऑफ द लोकसभा, डेप्यूटी स्पीकर ऑफ द लोकसभा या प्रोटेम स्पीकर। इससे ज्यादा क्या आ रहा है? प्राइम मिनिस्टर आ रहे हैं, प्रेसिडेंट आ रहे हैं, और क्या क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं? क्या ये आसान क्वेश्चन आप लोग सॉल्व नहीं कर सकते? कर सकते हो। कैसे करोगे? मल्टीपल रिवीजन्स या न्यूज़पेपर अपडेट्स, वैसे ही सॉल्व होंगे। अगर इतना भी कर लिया तो पॉलिटी के 80% क्वेश्चन आपके सही सॉल्व होंगे। 1 और 2 मैच द फॉलोइंग पिछले 1-2 साल से ऐसे आ रहे हैं। जैसे पिछले साल वाइस एडमिरल और रैंक ऑफ द यूनिफॉर्म्ड सर्विसेज का एक क्वेश्चन आया था। इस बार भी एक मैच द फॉलोइंग क्वेश्चन आया है उसी टाइप का। पिछले साल एक क्वेश्चन आया था जिसमें पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज और नेताओं के बारे में एक सवाल पूछा गया था। क्वेश्चन कहाँ से था? वो एनसीईआरटी बुक में से था। बट यू ऑल वर नॉट कंफर्टेबल विद रीडिंग एनसीईआरटीज। अरे नहीं सर, हम तो यूपीएससी की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, एनसीईआरटी नहीं पढ़ेंगे। क्यों नहीं पढ़ेंगे भाई? बिल्कुल पढ़नी चाहिए, ठीक है। दोनों स्टैंडर्ड टेक्स्ट बुक पढ़नी है, अखबार पढ़ना है, क्लास में जो हैंडआउट्स दिए जाते हैं वो पढ़ने हैं, मॉडल आंसर जो दिए जाएंगे आप लोगों को टेस्ट के वो पढ़ने हैं। अपडेट, मैंने आप सब लोग को कई बार बोला है कि प्रीलिम्स में सिर्फ 3 प्रकार की गलती होती है। पता नहीं था, मॉडल आंसर से जानो, क्लास के डिस्कशन में जानो। पढ़ा था, याद नहीं आया, बार बार रिवाइज करो। पढ़ा था, याद आया, लेकिन समझा गलत था पहली दफा, टीचर्स को परेशान करो ना, समझो ना बार बार। इसलिए तो ये टेस्ट सीरीज दी जा रही है आपको कि आपको अपनी गलतियां पता चलें। उतना मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट है, सुधार उसके बाद चालू होगा। पूछो, ठीक है। मेंस में हम लोग अखबार नहीं पढ़ते सर, हम लोग तो सिर्फ अलग अलग कंपाइलेशंस पढ़ते हैं, नोट्स पढ़ते हैं, उसमें से हमें पॉइंट्स मिल जाते हैं, काफी है। मेंस लिखने का मौका कब मिलेगा? भाई साहब अखबार पढ़ना चालू करो, उसमें से खुद के नोट्स बनाओ। पिछले कितने अटेम्प्ट में कंपाइलेशन का फायदा नहीं हुआ है, कहीं ना कहीं कमी रही है। स्टॉप स्पून फीडिंग योरसेल्फ, ग्रो योर ओन ग्रेन्स। जितनी मेहनत करोगे उतना आसान लगने लगेगा पेपर। एंड नोबडी इज आस्किंग यू टू हैव अ कंप्लीट स्कोर। 50% मार्क्स लाने हैं भाई। 200 में से 100 नंबर प्रीलिम्स में लाना मुश्किल है क्या? आसान है, बहुत बच्चे लेके आ रहे हैं। इस बार लेके आए हैं टक्कर बैच में से more than 60% of the students who were diligent with their studies have made it through the prelims this year. कैसे? गलतियां समझी, उन पे इंप्रूव किया, आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस करी, एस्से लिखा, सीसेट पे फोकस किया थ्रू आउट द ईयर। और क्या चाहिए? सारी चीजें तो हैं इस टेस्ट सीरीज में, राइट? अब टेस्ट सीरीज, हाउ द टेस्ट सीरीज हैज इंप्रूव्ड ओवर द पास्ट ईयर्स। जैसा अंसारी सर ने अभी हमें बताया कि पिछले 3 साल से हम लोग ये टेस्ट सीरीज रन कर रहे हैं। ये क्वेश्चन देखो, UPSC Prelims 2025 Set D question number 26. The exercise of this power by the President can be subjected to limited judicial review. Second statement, the President can exercise this power without the advice of central government. Takkar Phase 1 Test 1 of Polity question number 74. You can check it. It must be exercised by the President on the advice of the Union Cabinet. It is not subjected to judicial review. How are we able to do this? Why are we doing this? So that it helps you to read the books, understand the books. What could be asked? किताबों में ही है सारी चीजें या अखबारों में है, उसके बाहर कुछ नहीं आ रहा है। Prelims 2025 Set D question number 8, 10th शेड्यूल का क्वेश्चन है ये, एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ। The President's decision in accordance with the opinion of the Council of Ministers shall be final. क्या पूछा गया? The decision of the chairman or the speaker of such a house on disqualification is final and not subject to judicial review. सारी चीजें हैं जो सवाल में पूछी गई हैं। अब ये वाला क्वेश्चन देखो, UPSC Prelims 2025 Set D question number 31. Statement 2, an ordinance can abridge a fundamental right. Takkar Phase 1 Test 1 of Polity. An ordinance cannot be issued, an ordinance cannot be retrospective. An ordinance can come into effect from a backdate, retrospective है, cannot abridge a fundamental right, cannot amend a constitution. इतना डिफरेंस, इतना मैचिंग अगर मिल रहा है तो आप लोग मेहनत करके क्यों नहीं अपने आप को उस मुकाम पे पहुंचा रहे? मेरी एक सिंपल सी रिक्वेस्ट है, डिमांड है, रीड बुक्स, रिवाइज बुक्स, अटेम्प्ट द क्वेश्चन पेपर, फाइंड आउट द फॉल्ट लाइन्स इन योर स्ट्रेटजीज एंड योर कंटेंट, आस्क द सब्जेक्ट एक्सपर्ट्स, इंप्रूव एंड अचीव योर ड्रीम्स। दैट्स इट, सिंपल। मैं मेंस के क्वेश्चन भी मैचिंग करके दिखाऊंगा, हर सब्जेक्ट में हो रहे हैं। आप अखबार पढ़ोगे आपको रियलाइज होगा कि क्वेश्चंस न्यूज़पेपर में से कॉन्टेक्चुअल वे में कैसे फ्रेम करे जाते हैं, हो रहे हैं। यूपीएससी वही पूछ रहा है, कुछ भी बाहर से नहीं पूछ रहा। जनरल स्टडीज का पेपर है, जनरल अवेयरनेस का पेपर है। दे जस्ट वांट अ अवेयर पर्सन टू बी अ एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर इन इंडियन सिविल सर्विसेज, दैट्स इट। बी दैट अवेयर सिटीजन, ठीक है? इससे ज्यादा मैं क्या बोलूं? एक छोटी सी चीज है जो अभी बैठे बैठे मेरे दिमाग में आई। मुझे ये रियलाइज हुआ कि आप सब सितारे तो हैं, लेकिन आप सबको ध्रुव तारा कैसे बनाना है ये आपके हाथ में। सितारे कैसे? यू ऑल आर स्टार्स। एस से सेल्फ डाउट, स्ट्रेस। टी से टेंशन होती है, सुनामी ऑफ रीडिंग रिसोर्सेज। ये भी पढ़ लेते हैं, वो भी पढ़ लेते हैं, ये मटेरियल भी पढ़ लेते हैं, मार्केट में नया आया है, मंथली कंपाइलेशन पढ़ लेते हैं। सुनामी ऑफ रीडिंग रिसोर्सेज। ए से एंजाइटी, इतना सारा इकट्ठा तो कर लिया, करेंगे कब, पढ़ेंगे कब, समझेंगे कब? एंजाइटी होती है, करने को बहुत सारा है, समय है कम, एंजाइटी ग्रो होती है वहां से। आर से आता है जो मेहनत से डरते हैं, रिगर। नहीं यार, 1 घंटा और सो लेते हैं, उठा नहीं जा रहा। क्यों भाई, कब तक सोते रहेंगे? एस से आता है सेक्रीफाइस। Nobody is willing to sacrifice their sleep. Nobody is willing to sacrifice their comfort level. Nobody is willing to sacrifice the plethora of reading resources and limit themselves to couple of important and crucial reading resources. Sacrifice is of various types. Nobody is willing to sacrifice. नहीं, अगर टेस्ट का टाइम 10 बजे का है तो मैं 10 बजे ही टेस्ट दूंगा, कोई बात नहीं, मैं 2 दिन बाद दे दूंगा। क्यों भाई? यूपीएससी में भी ऐसे ही होगा क्या? Why don't you stick to the timelines? अपने लिए करो ना। अब इन स्टार्स से निकल के आपको बनना है स्टार्स। एस से स्ट्रेटेजी। स्ट्रेटेजी कई प्रकार की होती है। सबसे पहले तो जो शेड्यूल है, स्टिक टू द शेड्यूल्स। स्ट्रेटेजी आप किस टाइप की गलतियां करते हैं उसके आधार पे आप और मैं बैठ के बात करेंगे। किसी भी फैकल्टीज, किसी भी मेंटर के साथ बैठ के बात करो, स्ट्रेटेजाइज करो। रीडिंग में कहाँ गलती है, अंडरस्टैंडिंग में कहाँ गलती है, रिसोर्स कौन सा फॉलो करना चाहिए, न्यूज़पेपर समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, स्ट्रेटेजाइज। पहले रीडिंग के लिए, फिर इम्प्रूवमेंट के लिए, फिर रिवीजन के लिए। तीनों चीजों की स्ट्रेटेजी बनाओ एंड स्ट्रेटेजी विल बी डिफरेंट फॉर एवरी अदर इंडिविजुअल। टॉक टू योर मेंटर्स। टी से आता है टेनेसिटी, जद्दोजहद करने की काबिलियत, लड़ते रहेंगे। दशरथ मांझी की एक मूवी आई थी, उसमें क्या बोले था, जब तक फोड़ेंगे नहीं तब तक छोड़ेंगे नहीं, बोले थे। आप लोग छोड़ के बैठ जाते हैं, नहीं बहुत थक गए, नहीं 4 महीने हो गए पढ़ते पढ़ते, अब मन नहीं कर रहा है, मोटिवेशन नहीं आ रहा है। क्यों? एग्जाम तो निकालने हैं ना, एक बार एग्जाम दो ना इतनी शिद्दत से कि निकल के रहेगा। Why do you give yourself 720 days or 18 months or more than 70 weeks or 80 weeks of your time? Consider it as a sprint race of 1 year, 1 attempt and 1 rank. You will do it. Give yourself small targets. ए से आएगा हमारा एक्यूरेसी। एक्यूरेसी इन अंडरस्टैंडिंग। जितनी बार रिवाइज करोगे उतनी बार एक्यूरेसी इंप्रूव होगी। पहले समझने में गलती रह गई, फाउंडेशन बैच पढ़ा था, खुद से बुक्स पढ़ी थी, यूट्यूब वीडियोस देखे थे, लेकिन अभी भी एक्यूरेसी नहीं आ रही है। टॉक टू द मेंटर्स। अपने जीवन के 3 घंटे समझने में व्यर्थ करने से बेहतर है हमारे जीवन के 15 मिनट ले लो आप, हम समझाएंगे। ठीक है। आर से आता है रेजिलियंस। नो मैटर क्या होगा, आंधी तूफान बाढ़ सूखा कुछ भी आ जाए, हमें अपना काम करना है। नो मैटर मेरे 200 में से 20 नंबर आए हैं अगर पॉलिटी के टेस्ट में, तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि मैं आगे के टेस्ट देने छोड़ दूंगा या सेल्फ डाउट करूंगा या डीमोटिवेट हो जाऊंगा या और कुछ। आधा घंटा 1 घंटा परेशान रहो, उसके बाद यू नीड टू बी रेजिलियंट इनफ कि भाई किताब उठाओ, पढ़ाई करो, गलतियां सुधारो। Success. The definition of success is different for every other individual. आपकी सफलता की परिभाषा क्या है, ये इसका निर्णय आप खुद लेंगे। हो सकता है बेमन भी अगर एक दिन पढ़ लिया और टेस्ट में 60 नंबर आ गए, वो आपके लिए सफल प्रयास रहा है। छोटी छोटी सफलताओं का पीछा करो, बड़ी सफलता मिल जाएगी। ठीक है। आप मेरे से वादा करो कि पढ़ोगे, डाउट पूछोगे, मैं वादा करता हूं कि एग्जाम आसान हो जाएगा। मैं नहीं बनाऊंगा, आपको लगेगा। ठीक है। अब ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स मूवी किस किसने देखी है? हिंदी में, इंग्लिश में? कार्टून किसने देखा है ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स का? किसी ने नहीं? अरे देख लो भैया, अच्छी मूवी है। कभी कभी अपने आप को इतना लेवरेज दे देना चाहिए। क्या है उसके मेन प्रोटैगनिस्ट कैरेक्टर का नाम क्या है? ठीक है। उसका एक डायलॉग है, फॉर ऑल दोज ऑटोबॉट्स टेकिंग रिफ्यूज अमंग द स्टार्स आई सेंड दिस मैसेज टू एवरीबॉडी। लगभग उसी प्रकार से मैंने भी एक बनाया है, फॉर ऑल द एस्पिरेंट्स टेकिंग रिफ्यूज अमंग द स्टार्स इट्स टाइम टू इम्प्लीमेंट एंड नेविगेट योर way and cultivate the new stars for your life. And how can you do that? We at Lukmaan IAS are going to help you in best of our capacities. We are here and we have been waiting for you so long. Right? हर सब्जेक्ट में पढ़ाई करनी है, शेड्यूल फॉलो करना है, टेस्ट देना है, मिस्टेक्स करनी है, मिस्टेक्स को इम्प्रूव करना है और करते रहना है। बस इतना सही खेल है। बाकी आप सब लोग मेरे को जानते हैं, बाकी फैकल्टीज को भी जानते हैं। अप्रोच करने की के लिए इंतु किंतु परंतु संकोच झिझक जो कुछ भी है उसे दरकिनार करके अप्रोच द डेस्क एंड आस्क योर डाउट्स. Be uncomfortable for a small while. I will make sure that you won't enter the examination hall with a single doubt. Right? Made myself clear? Good luck to you. Thank you. पूछ लो भाई. ठीक है.